next setup, we're going to use 3 lights. It's a very, very easy setup, but it does require one accessory that makes this look work. And that is you have to get the reflector that came with your strobe. If you don't have a reflector, chances are yours came with it. But if it didn't, you're going to need a reflector. But here's the thing that you're going to need, a grid spot. So why do you need these two? Well, first off, this one's going to help focus the light. Now, if you just have a bare bulb light like we have back here, the flash is just going to go everywhere. It has no direction. By putting the reflector on it, it kind of sends the light in somewhat of a direction. It sends it a little more like this, but it still kind of goes everywhere. Not nearly as bad as if you didn't have it on, so it does focus it to some extent. But this baby right here, this honeycomb grid spot, what it does is it sends the light in one direction. It just pops right inside of here. Now, I'm using an Elechrome version of this. Depending on which strobe you have, yours may attach over the top, it may clamp on the top, you may have to tape it on. It just depends on which brand and make and model that you use. But in this case, they just snap right in and out. And they'll have different degrees, and the lower the number, the degree, the tighter the beam is going to be. So a 20-degree grid spot will give you a narrower beam than a 30-degree or a 40-degree. So once you pop this in here, we're going to pop this on the backlight. We're using 2 backlights. We're using one on the left, and so the subject will stand here. We're using one on the left and one on the right. In a minute, we're going to bring Mark in, and we're going to shoot a very, very popular look, which has a rim light. So there's going to be a bright light on this side of his face, a bright light on this side of his face. We're on a black background, and that bright light's going to kind of remove him from the background. And then we're using this front light not really as so much of a main light, as a fill light. So the back's going to be very, very bright, and then we're going to bring in just a little bit of fill on the front to kind of fill it in. And I have it off to one side, so again, I'm getting directional light. So I'm going to have shadows on this side of his face. Now, it won't all be in shadow because we're using a nice big softbox, but somewhat. So let's go ahead and attach this to the grid back here. Just going to attach this to the light, and then we'll turn the little lock so it stays on here. Something like that. All right, so now our grid spot's in place. So what you're going to need to do is let me have Mark come into the set, and we're going to have you stand right here, Mark. All right, now, what I want to do is I can kind of use the modeling lights. Let me turn this one on back here. So modeling lights are these little lights in the back that kind of help you see where the light's going to go. They don't entirely let you see, but they kind of give you an idea where the light's going to fall. So just by looking at this, you can kind of see the lights on one side of his head, on one side of the other. If I didn't use a front light, all you'd have is a very, very bright mark. Now, this is also actually a good technique to go ahead and build your lights in stages. We can turn the front light off if we want, not have it fire at all, and then I can just see what's happening. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to turn off the front light. I'm just going to let the back lights fire. Let me just go around here and just turn it off here. I'm actually just going to flip the power button to off. So now the front light's not going to fire, and then all I really have to worry about is aiming these two so it skims the side of his face. Now, settings in the camera. I'm shooting in manual mode because I'm with a strobe. Let's take a look at what my settings are. I'm at 125th of a second, which is a good safe starting place for your shutter speed. And you're not going to change your shutter speed very much at all because your shutter speed really doesn't affect the strobes very much. It will affect like ambient light, but we don't really have much ambient light in here. So an ambient light just means the light that's already in the room light or whatever. What is going to affect everything is your aperture. So we set the shutter speed and kind of forget it. So let me just take a look and take a test shot of Mark right here. Very good, right into the camera. All right, if you take a look at the shot here, we have pretty much what I'm looking for. Now, there's a little bit of highlight clipping. If you notice on either side of his face, there's a tiny bit of highlight clipping. Well, the idea behind this particular look is really, really bright. If I have a tiny little bit, it doesn't really bother me that much. But at least I can see now if it's balanced. It's actually fairly well balanced, and the only way to do that is through trial and error. Now, I was able to see with these modeling lights, I can see pretty much, just even looking at Mark right here, I can see that this side of his face is pretty lit equally with the other side of his face. So both sides look pretty good, but of course, the middle of his face is completely dark. So then we'll turn on this strobe and do a test. But if you try to do this all at once, it's kind of tricky. Now, I'm going to probably keep the power on the very front one here as low as I can get it. On this particular one, the power setting is 1.5, and this thing will go up a lot higher. But at 1.5, it's not going to put out that much power. I really don't want to overlight, and this is supposed to be a dramatic look. So what we're going to do is let's do this. Let me come in here and get a kind of a wide shot on you here, Mark. And let's see. All right, well, we're getting a pretty good look. I don't know if there's... Okay, every once in a while you get lucky and it comes together. In this case, it really looks pretty good. I don't really have much to change. I've got the skim lights on both sides. I have the light to the side. It looks pretty good. All the shadows look good. Now I can just take a moment and kind of focus on working with Mark and getting the look that I want. So I'm going to shoot some portraits here. Let me go ahead and get a couple, and we'll just get a little bit better composition. Again, I'm focused on his eyes. Make sure the eyes are in, because if the eyes are out of focus, nothing else works. By the way, sometimes you'll see me when I'm doing this moving the camera up and down like this. What that's doing is it's me being lazy. Rather than actually moving the little dot up to his eye, what I'll do is I'll focus on his eye, I'll hold the shutter button down halfway so it locks right there, then I'll recompose. But really the right way to do it is just save yourself the time. So the right way to do this, Mark, if I was really doing it the right way, is to press it down halfway, move the thing so it's already on your eye right where it is so I don't have to keep recomposing. I can just worry about shooting. And then everywhere, even if I turn the camera this way, or this way. All right, Mark, put your chin down a little bit for me, and actually look down. There you go. All right, that looks good. All right, put your hands together in front of, yeah, just like that. Good. That way, if I can get a little more shoulder in there, I can back off. I'm going to step back just a step or two and get a little bit more wide here. Just like that. Very nice. Very good look. All right, I'm going to have you actually look at the light. Don't look too far because I don't want to get too much of the whites of your eyes. Back a little more towards me. There you go. Good, good, good. All right. All right, I'm going to have you look. So don't look to the center of the light. Look a little bit over this way. A little bit more over towards me. No, leave your head where it's at and just the eyes. There you go. Perfect. Oh, that's good. So your eyes are right where they need to be. All right, if you take a look at his eyes, don't move. Can you hold that pose again? Take a look at where his eyes are. We're just seeing a little bit of the whites of it, and that's what we're looking for. Now, look a little, without moving your head, Mark, go ahead and look a little further. See all the whites right there? You see this again and again, and that's not what you're looking for. Now, bring your eyes back a little bit. See how he's still looking away? He's kind of in a two-thirds view, or a three-quarter view kind of thing, but he's not really, you're not seeing the whites of the eyes. You're seeing more iris, and that's what really looks good. Alrighty, now, there's something you're probably wondering about. So how do you control you have lights firing right into you? How do you keep from getting lens flare? And that's one of the things you're going to get. Well, there's a thing you can add to this that makes your life a lot easier than worry about controlling lens flare, and those are flags. They're basically pieces of black fabric. And what we do is we put the black flags between you and those two lights in the back so it's not blowing you out. So I'm going to have Brad and David just bring in the flags real quick, and I'm going to shoot between them so it kind of makes a little bit of a tunnel. That way I don't have to worry about getting any lens flare off of those two back lights. So let me step back a few feet. All right, so from where I'm standing, let me move this a little bit more in. Perfect. I don't see those lights on the back at all. Now I get everything set first. Now I got this little tunnel to shoot through. I don't have to worry about any lens flare coming from there at all. And that alleviates one of the biggest problems. So how do you know if you're getting a lens flare? Well, number one is lens flare will actually wash out your photos. You may not just see the rings like you're accustomed to seeing outdoors and things, but what you will see is your photos look washed out, for lack of a better term. Now in some cases we're doing beauty stuff and you're shooting on white. Sometimes you're going to get a little bit of that. Certainly you can fix that in Photoshop with one slider. Just take the black slider and drag it to the right. But you know what? I don't want to have to fix it in Photoshop. I want to get it right in the camera. Putting up these flags is easy. And these flags are about 24 by 36. These are Westcott's. This one's a Westcott, and this one I think is from Avenger, I think, makes these. No, Matthews. Matthews makes those. Although I like the Westcott, honestly, I like the Matthews better. They're a little more rigid than these. These collapse down. These don't. So there is an advantage to each one of those, but I love the Matthews. Okay, so that's kind of a look at how to put this look together. I'm just going to shoot a couple more snaps of Mark, and then we're set to go. All right, let me have you look straight down, like really put your chin down, just like that. Good. That looks good. Very nice. All right, I'm going to have you look that way now. There you go. And now bring the eyes back a little bit more. Very good. Perfect. Right there. That's it. That's it. All right. Good job. Okay. We got it.